now call the meeting of the Carbon County Board of Commissioners to order. Please rise for a moment of silence, prayer, and pledge of allegiance.
Lord, you have entrusted us as stewards of your creation. Please guide our hearts as we make our decisions. We seek you first in all we do together. We give you our business, our suppliers, our customers, and our workforce. May we always be mindful of their service. We confess that we are nothing without you, and that our trust is in you completely. We ask for your blessing for the McCall family at this difficult time, and may they have comfort knowing that your son is safe with no more suffering. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of constituting the accuracy of written minutes. Tapes are reused, eliminating recorded records of these proceedings. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held March 7th, 2019.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Are there any guests concerning county business at this time? Miss Man, please state your name and where you're from.
My name is Patricia Brunson. I'm from Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. I haven't done this before. I wish somebody would go first.
I'm John Drury, citizen of Carbon County and a resident of Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. And I represent the loyal opposition to the Susquehanna Street project. I just wanted to give you an update. We've got over 2,000 signatures of people in the county, not just in Jim Thorpe, but around the county, who are not pleased and who are not in favor of this project. And the people in town, their concerns are, as you've already heard, problems with the Episcopal Church, the physical structure of it in jeopardy, the vehicular chaos that's going to be part of our future right here in on Susquehanna and Broadway, reduce residents and visitor parking, and then there's the tax implications. I have to admit that people that are not in this immediate area are concerned with that, not so much concerned with our local deficits that we're going to experience with this. As far as the tax implications are concerned, with your style of leadership, recognizing a problem, solving the problem on your own, without benefit of the stakeholders who are going to suffer for the decisions that you've made, then you come up with your solution and your plan, yours. And then you push it. And that's how you've operated. And that's how you've operated before, and you know what I'm talking about. Everybody does. Some of our stores are still seething for the debacle of packaging yards. There's been no study, no stakeholder involvement, and no citizen representation, and you're taxing these people. So what is taxation without representation. Well, what's taxation without representation? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what taxation is without representation? It's tyranny. And what's tyranny? Absolute power. And that's where you are. So, you have the arrogance to push this stuff, and we have the audacity to challenge you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other guests concerning county business?
I'm ready.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Patricia Brunson, Carbon County. I just want to say I'm speaking because I agree with him that a $12 million facility that is not contiguous to the architectural history that this town attracted me to it shouldn't be built where it is, and I don't like the price tag associated with that. So I have to read because everybody that knows me knows that I don't speak linearly. I take too long, so here I go. I don't know how many people I'm representing with my comments, but they're my comments. And my point is that I don't have to live here in Jim Thorpe, Carbon County, Pennsylvania, but I choose to. I was raised in El Paso, Texas. I spent 4 years in Boston, 6 years between Malibu and Santa Monica. I got married and moved to New York City for 18 years until my husband was priced out of his lease, and we had less than 6 months to find a place to live. And by some miracle, I found Jim Thorpe, and the second time we came to town, we bought a house. So we moved here with the plan to leave after 2 years, having had time to research other places, and then find our ideal place to live. Well, what happened was we fell in love with this town and the people, and the nature and the architecture and the nightlife and the music and everything, and so we stayed, and we are going to stay if we can afford to do so. Yeah, our neighbors, the airports that are close, everything's wonderful about this town. My closest relative lives in McAllen, Texas, with the rest of my family living in El Paso, Texas, and my husband's closest relative lives in Little Rock. So my point is that we don't have to live in Jim Thorpe, Carbon County, Pennsylvania, but we choose to live here. We own 2 homes in the Heights. Some people call it the ghetto, and other people call it the barrio. But it's our home, and we love our neighbors, and we own 2 homes and pay taxes on both those homes. We rent one of those houses to a young couple that was moving to Virginia, and we had the fortunate outcome to ask them to stay, and they're staying here raising a very intelligent young daughter. And we can see from our own perspective that they're upwardly mobile because they're associating with people that are elevating their outlook, and they are doing great things with their lives, getting great jobs, doing great things. And I also want to say that my husband owns several businesses in the country, and one is here in downtown Jim Thorpe. He rents from a local resident. It's called OK Cigars, and I don't know if any of you gentlemen have ever been to OK Cigars downtown Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. You have?
Many times.
It's a beautiful shop. I suggest you go there. It is modeled after the New York store. Anyway, I work from home. I actually rent an office on the east side of town. I can work from anywhere, but I choose to work from here because this is where I live. And again, I don't have to work here. I don't have to live here, but I choose to do so because I love it. Since we've moved here, I realized how much we pay in property taxes, because for the first time in my life, I'm a homeowner, and I talk to people about how low my property taxes are, and they'll say, oh no, I own a $500,000 property in Myrtle Beach on a golf course, and I pay $900 a year. And then somebody else will say, oh no, I live in Texas. You know how much I pay for my $500,000 house? I pay $1,000 a year. And I'm appalled because I pay for my 2 little houses that cost less than $200,000. I pay a lot compared to those guys. So I don't know what I'm getting for my money, except maybe the quality of life. The potholes are there. Anyway, so my fear is that we have no children. We don't have to be here, but we choose to be here. And I don't know where I'll be in 10 or 15 years. Will my business work out? Will all my decisions be the right ones that I need to make? Will my husband's decisions be the right ones? If we don't make a whole lot of money to retire, we may have to live on limited means, and I don't know if we'll be able to afford to live here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes.
Any other guests?
Yes. Good morning, Chris Lukasevich. First and foremost,
Of course, the hearts go out to the McCall family for their loss. I would like a copy of the Packard Township Board of Supervisors letter immediately after the meeting, just like the media will get. What is the Board of Commissioners' policy position on the wind turbine farm planned for Packard Township?
We have no policy.
Well, now, Commissioner Gerhart says otherwise, so was he speaking when he spoke to multiple groups
Let's put it this way.
on Sunday night, and he said all commissioners are against the project, and myself also? So he was not speaking, three sources, they will sign affidavits to that effect also. Because, so you would not can even discuss it because it's not because it is a local issue, correct?
It is a local issue.
Okay, so there will be no decision, no resolution, no proclamation, no support offered. Just like
Not
Penn
this
Forest
time,
Township,
not this
nothing
time.
was offered.
Right.
All right. So Commissioner Gerhart, what is your position on wind turbines in Packard Township? What was your position on wind turbines in Penn Forest Township?
Same as Chairman Notstein.
So, but the reality was, you were for them before you were against them. Because in 2008, Board of Supervisors signed an ordinance which basically today gives carte blanche to Liberty Power to put 21 turbines in Packard Township. And it is inevitable because of this document that you signed and was attested to by Susan Gerhart and the solicitor at that time in Packard Township, okay, Daniel Miscavige. I believe this was drafted by Carbon Engineering, if my records serve me correctly. Have you ever voted on any other issue in regards to turbine other than this?
Comments today, Chris.
All right. But that is your signature, am I correct?
You're absolutely 110% correct.
Good. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for coming into the meeting today.
Any other guests concerning county business? Hearing none? We have some special guests today.
Today we have CCTI Skills USA project. Students Tanner Stroll, Donovan Daly, and Dylan Arner, and their advisor, Mr. Kevin Keener. Mr. Keener?
Hello, everybody.
Morning.
Our one student, he couldn't make it with us today, so to us, and I apologize for us running a little late.
Yeah, excuse me. Do you want to come up front where the cameras can see and everyone in the attendance today can see our students and our leadership that we have and talk about their project. So if you want to just turn around and face them, that'd be fine.
Hello, everybody. I'm a precision machine instructor at Carbon Career Technical Institute. These are two of my students here. We are doing a community service project for Skills USA competition. And the project was actually spearheaded here by Donovan Daly. He's actually fixing the placards in cemeteries in Carbon County for all the all the veterans throughout all the wars. He did bring a couple samples with him, and I'm going to let these two talk about their project, but they're going to be competing in Hershey, Pennsylvania through the 10th through the 12th, and this is their project.
These are just some of the plaques that we're working on fixing or we've already fixed. What happens with them is throughout time they get damaged, and there's no real solution to fixing them that's going to cost less. And I had the idea, and it was brought to me if I could fix them a cheap way. I said yes. So I brought the project to CCTI, and the solution that we came up with was fixing the tabs on the back by recreating the original ones. This is just one of the ones that we cleaned up, but the backs are broken off still, that still have to get fixed. And this is one of the Vietnam ones that we recently fixed.
Alright, so the process of fixing these, we will take aluminum square stock inch by, it's an inch wide and a half-inch thick. All we go on our ProtoTrack machine, mill machine, ripen a program to make our fixtures and that, to fix these. And then once we're done, we'll go over to our welding shop, get them welded on, brazed on, different materials. Anyway.
Tanner's a little tongue-tied here. This is his first appearance in the audience. But what the approach that these young men are doing, they actually made up some brochures, and we headed to a couple local machine shops in the area in Carbon County, and they came up with their idea. Because I said to these guys, you know, it's a great idea. You can fix the stuff. That's no big deal. That's no problem. Where's the metal come from? You know, somebody has to purchase the metal. So they got on board with our local machine shops, and they were happy to donate. So they came up with the material sizes they needed and things like that, and they jumped on board with that as well. So actually, when we leave here, we have to stop at BTM machine right below the school there and pick up some material from there. All the placards are, you know, being restored to pretty much their 100% state. I mean, I do know they make reproductions, and I was happy to find out they are made in Pennsylvania, reproductions. But if somebody has, you know, like a World War I one that was made out of bronze in the original state, we actually restore it back to the original state. Students learn a lot off of this process, and one of their benefits and one of the things they want to do is get this out to other communities as well. This county is so lucky to have a technical school here. It's amazing the stuff that we can do, and a lot of people don't really know that we're there. But we have 15 technical programs in our area, and any way that we can teach our students to contribute back to the community, it's a win-win situation, you know. The community benefits, students benefit. Now, they are gonna be attending local meetings at VFWs and all this, so this is their first to get out, just to let everybody know what they're doing in the county. So Tanner's got to work on his speeches here a little bit. This is good. This puts him up to the test. So.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions at all for these young gentlemen?
You know, I was wondering, how do they break? They seem like they're pretty well made. Is it from vandalism, or is it just from wear and tear?
Well, from harsh weather, sometimes they can fall over and they start blowing around because they're a pretty light piece of metal. And just the backs are so fragile that they just break off. And also in the summertime, as grass is being cut, they do happen to get hit by lawnmowers and they do happen to break.
Well, let me tell you, it's a worthy cause. I do a lot of walking in Summit Hill, and up on the East End we have so many cemeteries that we always say people are dying to come to Summit Hill. And there's a lot of veterans up there. Well, we do say that, but there's a lot of veterans, and I do notice it's sometimes alarming when you see the flags just laying on the ground because of the flag holders being broken, and I gotta congratulate you for doing a well-worthy cause.
Are you gentlemen going to be working on these at all today? Are you actually going to be fabricating some of these later on?
We hope to.
You have any tabs ready to go?
Yeah, we have stock ready to go in shop, at our shop class.
Well, I would like to do a story on this today, and I would like to interview you. We can sharpen up that public speaking skills. Give me 5 minutes with you boys, and I'll have you ready. Thank you.
Thank you so much on behalf of all the veterans in Carbon County for taking on this project. We wish you the best on your skills competition. We hope you do well.
What's this gentleman's name?
Donovan. We wish you the best. So,
Mr. King, thank you.
I know we've honored others from the Road Tech School previously that have entered the competition and have placed. Not everyone is college material. There are so many skills at our Road Tech School, and that jobs are open in those skills, and they pay rather well, the welding and the electronics and a lot of these trades that you learn there are very, very valuable. So we wish you the best in your competition, and come back and see us soon. Hank,
You guys aren't getting away so easy. Henry Rozier, Veterans Affairs Director. Nice, thank you, Mr. Keener. To these two young gentlemen, they're gonna be seeing me next Wednesday anyway with the County Veterans Council. So get to see a face, and I'll be quite familiar, and it's gonna be a relaxed setting for you, so you don't have to worry about being nervous like being on TV. When they were talking about how a marker gets damaged, and that's what these are, they're called flag markers. We use aluminum today. Prior to the past several years, all it was just the rod was screwed into the bottom back here. Well, seeing we live in lovely Carbon County in a higher elevation with the wind that we have and our harsh winters, these things fly around, particularly if the cemeteries and the boroughs leave the flags up year round, which is they're entitled to do that. By county code, they're supposed to come off the first week work day after the 4th of July. But private property, they can stay up as long as they wish. But what that does with the flag, it makes them move. Eventually, the threads wear. But yet, the gentleman that came to you, he has a tendency of putting it on the bottom and on the top after rethreading the rod, and actually the marker itself, and Loctiting them too, so that way they don't move. So, but what they're doing is a great thing. The majority of the bronze ones which we do not use anymore, damage comes on the rod itself by corrosion from being in the ground. And it makes everything fall over and they get shorter. With the weather too, the corrode, very hard to take the bronze off the bronze rod. So, but what they're doing is a great thing. I haven't seen a reduction in my budget for markers and flags yet, but the fact is we've always been prepared for incidents to replace. County code only requires that we issue one marker and a flag to a veteran upon their death. Okay, but my 11 years here, I can thank the commissioners personally for allowing me to have excess to replace when people come in with and all I ask is bring in the damaged marker and I'll replace it for them. That way I can get them to CCTI, and it's a wonderful thing what the school is doing. Mr. Keener, I congratulate you for your guidance, and for you two young men, I thank you very much, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing this great thing for the county.
And, the projects like this too help the students with their skills as far as problem solving as well. 10 years down the road, maybe one of them is an entrepreneur because of something like this. He's like, hey, you know what, we change this, and we don't have these flaws again. So it's beneficial to us, and it's beneficial to the community, and, like I said before, it's a win-win. So anytime anybody, is in a cemetery and sees a broken marker, think about us, and, generally we can fix it. We can break it, we can make it. All right, gentlemen.
Bill, you have any?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a couple of comments. I think it's important to know that CCTI is the #1 career technical school in the state of Pennsylvania. I mean, there's always going to be a need for craftsmen, so I thank you, gentlemen, for what you're doing. It's a great project. You're going to save money being able to repair these things. And, giving back to our veterans, living deceased that have fought for our country and continue to fight. So it's a great project. I commend you, Mr. Keener, and the students here today. And for the gentleman that couldn't make it, thank him from the Board of Commissioners. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Good. Okay.
Next item is the report of executive session, Phil.
There were none.
Department reports, budget transfers.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Nordstein?
Yes.
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of check numbers 204411 through 204620 For expenditures for the general fund clearing account totaling $739,493.62.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes, with the exception of the bills for the Times News, Blue Ridge Communications, and Penn Teledata and Palmerton Telephone Company, to which I abstain because I'm a part-time employee of the Times News, which is a sister company of Blue Ridge Communications, Penn Teledata, and Palmerton Telephone Company. And I would like to present the Keeper of Records a memorandum stating my possible conflict of interest with PennCore-related companies as per the recommendation and advice of the State Ethics Commission.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The treasurer's report?
Move to approve.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
The personnel report?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to press upon request. Advertising. For approval, authorize the advertisement of the invitation to bid for the community development block grant projects as listed.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain because I'm a part-time employee of the Times News where the advertisement will be published.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
CDBG public hearing, authorize the advertisement of the first public hearing notice regarding the use of the 2019 Community Development Block Grant Funds for entitlement and non-entitlement communities.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
I abstain because I'm a part-time employee of the Times News where the advertisement will be published.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Archives for approval and execution. The work-based learning program agreement between the county and the Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit Number 21 for the 2019-2020 school year, allowing young adults with disabilities on-the-job training in the archives department.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Boards and authorities, MHDS reappointment, Carbon Monroe Pike Mental Health Developmental Services Advisory Board reappointment. Samuel J. Dogapole of Lehigh, Pennsylvania, the term is 3 years, April 1, 2019 through March 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Children and Youth, for approval and execution, Children and Youth Services, fiscal year 2018-2019, first quarter Act 148 invoice report, which will result in the county receiving $4,264.04 in IT grant funds, $979 in special grant funds, $18,821.91 in Title IV-E AA funds, $348.93 in Medicaid funds, and $5,459.50 in TANF funds.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Service agreement for approval, the stenograph writer protection plans for 2 steno machines located in courtrooms number 2 and number 3 for the term of April 8th, 2019 to April 2nd, 2020. It's a protection plan, basic with loaner, at a cost of $389 each, which represents a $20 increase.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Union agreement for approval and execution, the collective bargaining agreement between the County of Carbon and the Carbon County Sheriff's Association for the period of January 1, 2019 through December 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Solicitors report.
Thank you. Fuel oil, off-road diesel, for approval and execution. An addendum to the original agreement with K&K Oil Company of Lehighton for sale and delivery of fuel oil and off-road diesel. The addendum changes the following locations from automatic to on-call basis. Carbon County Garage and Archives, 44 Susquehanna Street, Jim Thorpe. Morrison's Garage, 314, 316 School Street in Jim Thorpe.
So moved.
Second the motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Parks and Recreation, for approval and execution, a banner permit request was submitted for St. Mark and St. John's for Good Vibrations Dance on March 23, 2019. The banner request is March 15 through March 26, 2019.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Josiah White Park, agreement, banner, gazebo for approval and execution. A special activities agreement for use of Josiah White Park, along with banner and gazebo requests submitted for Jim Thorpe Tourism Agency for the Jim Thorpe birthday weekend, May 18th and 19th. The banner request, May 3rd through May 20, 2019, pending receipt of valid insurance certificate.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mock Chunk Lake Park agreement for approval and execution. A special activities agreement submitted for the Carbon County First Responders, Pennsylvania Senator John T. Udicak Community Safety Day, May 4th, 2019, pending approval by the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Shamrock Award for Adoption, Resolution Number 1907, recognizing John McCardle of Nescahoning as the 2019 Shamrock Award recipient.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Susquehanna Street Project for approval and execution. The following agreements between the Borough of Jim Thorpe and the County of Carbon regards to the Susquehanna Street Building Project. Land Development Improvement Agreement, Maintenance Agreement, and Stormwater Facilities and Easement Agreement.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Fiber relocation for approval. A proposal was received from Diefendorfer Electrical Contractors of Allentown for the relocation of existing fiber optic and copper cables at Susquehanna Street Building in the amount of $8,925.
So moved.
Second motion.
Mr. O'Gore?
Yes.
Mr. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Nothing further.
Any further business?
Yeah, under further business, we have Gary Wentz here from Career Link, and we received an update on the layoff at New England Motor Freight there, and I'd like to touch on some of the details and let Gary speak. The company list that we were finally provided to the Rapid Response Unit was 167 employees, not the 200 plus, which we originally thought it would be or were told. Now, there may be some there, I understand there's still some people working there, but we really don't know what those numbers are. So the day we had the snowstorm, when the week following the notification of the layoff, they had approximately 70 people attend the program for the unemployment compensation part of it and Career Link information. So it was a good turnout. I want to thank the Orioles Club for providing that space in such short notice to have the employees come out like that. And given the weather conditions that day, I'm sure we probably would have had a lot more there. So Career Link website lists new claimants by county, date, and open claims and their employer. In the 3 weeks since the facility closed, there were only 142 unemployment claims opened. Of those, 106 were Carbon County residents. The 36 remaining there were spread out through Schuylkill, Monroe, Lehigh, Northampton, and Luzerne County. So other counties are affected as well. So Gary, do you want to touch on some of the other things?
Just a note, we appreciate the help in getting the word out because of the short notice and our inability to have contact information for these employees up front in advance. So yeah, it turned out pretty well, really good turnout. Approximately 2/3 of the affected employees are Carbon County residents, and there's a little bit of a gap between the number of people that have open claims so far based on our information from unemployment compared to the list. Could indicate that some of them went right on to other jobs right away and never bothered to file unemployment. We had a really large number of employers that even participated in that rapid response meeting on the 20th. But we've had a lot of employers that have been in touch with us, posting jobs and trying to contact these employees for job opportunities to let them know what was available. The next step in the process is once a claimant is opened, normally in a permanent separation, it's not a temporary seasonal type layoff, they're notified through unemployment that they have to participate in what we call reemployment workshops in the local career links in their area. So they'll be starting to come in now in the next week or so to those workshops. We've expanded the number of workshops to make sure that nobody slips through the cracks, so to speak. And that's where we'll get a first indication of how many people might have already moved on to other jobs already. You know, some people usually take stock of what their situation, take a little bit of time to figure out which direction they want to go. But I know a large number of them did start coming into our office in the meantime. Some of them have already found other jobs. So for the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll get a better handle of how many might have jumped into another job right away.
And that is mandatory training or program that they have to go to for the unemployment compensation?
Unless they have evidence that they have another job opportunity or a job offer with a specific start date, they do have to participate in those reemployment workshops. The whole purpose is just to make sure that everyone in those situations is aware of all the services and the other agencies that are to help them. And like I said, some of them, because they're out in other counties, will be attending those types of workshops in the surrounding career links as well.
While we're on that, any other questions for Gary at this time? Okay, if not, I know another facility is what I have been told that they're laying off 22 people, so I think we'll be working with them shortly with A&E, from what I understand.
Yeah, we reached out to them to get some information. Haven't received anything yet. Right now, I can't speak for the company, but it seems like it's a restructuring, not so much any problem with their the work they have or anything like that. They're still continuing to hire and look for people in certain positions. I think it's just a restructuring at this point, but we'll know more when we get some information from them.
One other issue regarding employment right now. Right now, in the Children and Youth Office in particular, and also in our Aging Office, is the lack of names on the civil service list for caseworkers in both those offices. And last we heard, I think we were down 6 people. You see a retirement here on the agenda from, not in the agenda, personnel report. It's another caseworker out of the Aging Office. I think there's 3 or 4 vacancies there. It's sad because of the unemployment and the inability to keep employees in those offices. It's become a very difficult job, especially, well, I should say both, with the new legislation. Keeping up with the legislation, the caseload has increased tremendously because of the Child Protective Service requirements today. I forget what the percentage of their caseload has jumped, but there is so much paperwork involved now. At one time, the caseworkers could easily handle 30 cases at a time. Because of the average time of a case now, we're down to about 19 cases per caseworker. That certainly puts a strain on the state budget and the county budget as well. Puts a lot of strain on the caseworkers currently in that office because we don't have positions filled and have no one on the civil service. So anyone looking for that particular type of job in that career field, I'd strongly recommend you looking into the how to get on that civil service list. You know, I think the pay there is fair. We did increase it quite a few years ago. We had an issue for a while. But what happens a lot of times, these kids come out of school and they get into this career field and they have no, you know, I don't think they had an idea of what they were really getting into or the types of homes they're getting into and the circumstances they're getting into. It's an extremely difficult job, a job I would not want to have to make some of the decisions when to remove a child from a home, when to keep them there. Same with the Aging Office, with Protective Services, elderly abuse. They too have their hands full with changing legislation all the time, keeping up with regulations. And if you have been following our agendas over the years or personnel reports, how often we have to send these people out to training. It's quite a few hours every year that these people, it's mandatory training that they have to attend a lot of times. And my opinion is certainly, even when it's not mandatory, the more they know to provide the service, the better off we are here, that we ensure that they are, you know, fully aware of everything that is available to these people out there. So, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. Hey, look, you know, try to get on that civil service list. That's your career field, so. It's getting to a crisis mode again. Okay? That's all I have under further business.
Okay, Commissioners' reports, Mr. O'Gore?
I have nothing.
Mr. Gerhart?
I have nothing.
Mr.
I
Nostine?
already covered mine, thank you. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, meeting adjourned. Okay, Dominic.
Just wanted to get a soundbite on, what's the Shamrock Award for Mr. McCardle?
Oh, Mr. Ramsey, you're, put you on the spot.
Well, that's sponsored by the Contra Valley Irish American Association, and this is our 72nd year. And each year we pick a member of the community that has given back. And this year that person is John McCardle from Esquehoning. He's a well-known first responder. I believe he's been the fire chief over there for 28 years, involved with the Ambulance Association, a lot of county-wide first responding associations, and I think John is a perfect example of the type of person that the association looks for to honor as the Shamrock Award recipient. And the dinner will be Sunday evening in Summit Hill, if anybody's interested.
He's currently the chair of the Fire Chiefs Association, County Fire Association, and I think he just stepped down as the chair of the EMS because of, unfortunately, like a lot of our volunteer organizations are falling apart, which I'll be giving an update in a few weeks after we have a meeting in Harrisburg in a couple of weeks. I hope to get more information, but Nesquehoning has closed their ambulance association. He was an active member, and they were down, I think, 6 people, and it's impossible for 6 people to cover 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, yeah, that's the, I must say it is a good choice. John certainly puts his time in with the community. He was also active with the Boy Scouts and that, so I don't know when he sleeps.
Right.
My next thing is, with these 3 agreements for the Susquehanna Street project, what exactly are these agreements that we just passed today?
So we're meeting some of the conditions with Jim Thorpe Borough when they gave the conditional approval. One of them calls for eliminating of the parking spaces down at Susquehanna Street and reimbursement to the borough, which we're still negotiating with them. It calls for us to get a highway occupancy permit from PennDOT. It asks us to comply with the recommendations of the Jim Thorpe Borough engineer, and a whole bunch of other things that we need to dot the i's and cross the t's as the project goes forward, including posting a surety to show that the cost of the improvements, percentage, 15% I think it is, of the cost of the improvements until such time as the project is deemed acceptably finished and completed. So we're just basically going through the motions that were set forth by us, by the Jim Thorpe Borough Council, to meet the conditions of the permit that they granted to us. Right, Dan, I pretty much summed it up.
And my last thing, we do want to run a small piece on Mr. McCall, so we could just give a comment on maybe how long he's worked here, what he's been doing, and I know he's, I know, but we would like to run a piece. He's the grandfather of the children of one of our anchors, Marie Johns, so.
And I always had this, he always said, you and I came in together, we're going out together. Not the way I wanted to see Emmett go out. This is his 20th year here. He has always been a great elected official to work with, whether it be on salary board issues, budget issues. Emmett also contributed back some of the collection fees that he did not need, that he built up over time, maybe for equipment, etc. He did not spend the money, and he always turned that back over to the county. He felt that it was his fiscal responsibility, and he did that. He will really be missed as not only a friend, but a coworker. I don't know if the other two had the opportunity this morning. I was down this morning to talk to the staff, and of course, they're visibly upset. It's gonna be a difficult time for them for several weeks, if not months, suffering from that loss. In addition, to be sure, one person in that particular office, but as a friend and a coworker, you can't ask for any more than Emmett McCall.
So Chairman put it very good, very eloquently. I'm gonna say it a little more passionately. I loved Emmett McCall. And I still do. He was as loyal to people who he cared about as anybody. He was dedicated to his family, his friends, his community, his church, his school, this county, and everything else he was involved in, including the Panther Valley Irish American Association and the Hall of Fame. And they said it before to the newspaper, and I'll repeat it, that I'm thankful, my wife and I are thankful, and our children, that we had Emmett McCall in our life. There ain't a finer man. I'm gonna miss him.
That's all we need today, thank you.
And I just want to echo what my fellow commissioners said. I had the opportunity to become very good friends with Emmett. Emmett didn't let the Republican and Democrat come into play. He was a friend to everyone. He made many friends across this county. He knew many, many people. He was involved. He was a caring, giving man. My dad always told me, no matter when I got sick, Tommy, he said the first guy that called me was Emmett McCall, because he was a caring, loving, giving person. And my thoughts and prayers go out to the McCall family today, and I thank my fellow commissioners for their comments.
Anything else, Tom?
Well, that'll be all for me, thank you, gentlemen.
Kelly?
I have a copy of the correspondence from Packer Township. And can you elaborate at all on the collective bargaining agreement?
Yes, we have some bullet points here. They will be getting a 3% increase in wages over that time frame. 3% increase each year. Point that out. The on-call changes from $35 for the primary to $50, and from backup as needed, $30 to $45, and that falls in line basically with the other union contracts and the other people that are on call. The health insurance contributions are gonna increase $5 for each category. Each individual employee will go from $38.50 per pay to $43.50. So, and then it's the family.
That's just each individual.
Each individual, okay. And prescription copay with lower copays, example, retail generic would be 30-day supply will go from $32.50 to $19. We think it's a good package. Of course, we'd always like to see our employees get more. It's not like private government, but when you look at the benefits to healthcare and everything and what the private sector is paying for their insurance, it's certainly a lot more than that if they have insurance at all. You know, a lot of people pay hundreds of dollars a month towards their insurance. So, we're glad we could come to an agreement with the Sheriff's Association. No one ever gets everything they want. We didn't get everything we wanted, so you just have to keep moving on. And I'm glad we have an agreement now, so. Okay, that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Amy?
Morning. Can I ask for a copy of the correspondence that Kelly requested? And how many people are in that collective bargaining unit with the sheriffs?
11.
think it might be 12 now.
12. Okay, that's all I have then, thank you.
That's it? Okay, thank you.